From the King George's Estates in downtown Port St. Lucie, Florida, good Wednesday evening, everybody, and welcome back to KCN60 at its proper time right here on DARPATV.com. Kevin Canessa here with you for the next hour, and to all of our regulars, I welcome you back to the program, and to anybody who may be here for the first time, we welcome you to the program for the first time as well. The theme that I just played now is the theme song to Criminal Minds, which is one of my all-time favorite television shows. I've been using that as my intro as I start every show for the last, believe it or not, 4 years. Actually, I did it maybe 6 months into my first run of KCN60 going back into 2009-10, and also found out today that the anniversary of my very first recorded show was just the other day. It's hard to believe it was that long ago, but one day Bertika and JJ recorded my program for the very first time. I didn't know they were recording it, and it was 2010 in February. It's hard to believe. 4 years ago already. Certainly glad that you guys have joined me tonight, and I'm very, very excited that you're here tonight, and we're here at a regular time, not as late as yesterday, but surprisingly so, last night's show was the most attended KCN60 since DARPA TV came back. So, I don't know, maybe I need to look into doing a show a little bit later on in the day, but of course Bill will yell at me now that he comes back home earlier, and of course that wouldn't be good for Maddie and Kieran and all the rest of the crew in the United Kingdom, because it would be 3 o'clock in the morning every single night for them, and I don't want to do that to them, especially to Maddie, who gets to see his tunes. And I shortchanged you tonight, Maddie. I only did one, so you'll have to just get over that a little bit. We just did one today, but we'll get back to them. And part of the reason that I was a little bit late today was because there were two stories that I just found out about late. One has something to do with Ted Nugent, and I'll get into that later. And another is one that Billy Scarterfield posted on my Facebook wall about this woman in Olean, New York, which is where Joel used to live, if you remember. And when he lived there, that's when he was doing his radio show. But this comes about this woman from Olean, New York, paid for the meals of firefighters who were battling a blaze. They put their money together, and they fired her. I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is insane. And apparently it's making international news because Kieran read about it in the UK. So I got a video about it. It's unbelievable. There's this policy they have at this McDonald's where they let the employees give free meals to the cops. I never quite understood that because these guys make good money. They don't need to get their food for free, okay? But the firefighters were out in a real bitter cold. Olean is a very, very cold place. It's close to Buffalo, so it's only about half an hour from Buffalo to the south. And there was a major, major blaze in town, and I think a bunch of the guys came in looking for food. So the girl says to her manager, can we pay for these firefighters' meals because they've been out doing this blaze, and it was nuts. And the manager outright said no. So the woman who works at the McDonald's got all of her coworkers together. They pulled $83 together to pay for the firefighters' meals, which was a nice gesture given that it's 4 a.m., as Billy said, sub-zero temperatures in a very, very cold terrain. And they wound up firing this girl. Now, I wonder if this woman got fired. They're saying that it had nothing to do with her decision to pay or gather the money to pay for the firefighters' meals. And I'm wondering if maybe she applied an employee discount to it, and maybe that's why they're so upset by it. But the truth of the matter is, like, you got to be kidding me. You don't do that. You don't do that. But as I'm seeing in the chat room, Billy and Kieran are both saying she's getting loads of job offers. So maybe it was a good thing for her to do, because now she'll probably get a better job and not have to work in McDonald's anymore. So good for her for doing what she did. But, I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, I don't know what their rationale would be, or why anybody would ever consider doing such a stupid thing in getting rid of her right as all of this was happening. But for crying out loud, Billy's just telling me, and I didn't see this in the original story site because I read it so quickly, that she worked there for 8 years. I mean, you do such a good thing, and that's how you reward this girl. I mean, this woman. This is just it just shows how stupid some people are in this country, how dumb corporate mentality is, and how they could justify this for any reason. I don't care if she applied her employee discount. She was doing a good thing for people who were risking their lives for the people of Olean, New York. And it's just really disgusting that this happened to her. So I got a news report of it from the Buffalo NBC radio station. I just want you to know, however, the audio is not that good on this because it's apparently a screen grab and the audio didn't come in so well. So here's the report, but hopefully you'll be able to hear it. You might have to turn up your speakers to hear this full report. And then, of course, when I come back, if you know what's good for you, you will turn your speakers down.
Firefighters who called News 4 very upset with the news. During her morning shift as a manager at McDonald's last week, while several local fire departments worked in sub-zero temperatures, Heather Levia saw a way to help. Olean firefighters ordered 25 breakfast sandwiches and hash browns. And Heather says she pulled $83 out of her pocket and paid for it herself.
Just because I appreciate everything that they do.
Then a little bit later, another department ordered another $70 of food. So Heather texted her boss to see if the company would pick up the tab for the firefighters. She thought they might because she says they routinely give free meals to police officers who come in.
It's very common in that store.
Her boss said no, they don't donate food. Heather called the corporate office and got the same answer. So she and fellow workers again picked up the tab. And when word spread that Heather paid the bill, some firefighters called her boss and complained, thinking the restaurant made Heather feel obligated to pay for their meals.
She thought you opened a whole business.
At her next shift, after 8 years of working for McDonald's, Heather was fired. She says the reason given was she swore at a superior, something she denies.
I did say that this was ridiculous, but I'm not fired to anybody.
Allegheny firefighters say they never expect free food, and they're grateful for the gesture.
It was a shock. We certainly regret the fact that she lost her job. We can't speak on corporate policy because we don't know the background of it. It was a sad affair because the gentleman lost a home, and it's even worse now that we know that this gal apparently lost her job because of it.
It's just wrong. Like, I wish that the communities would change and help each other out. I wish that things didn't have to be the way they are. And if losing my job is going to speak out to the community, then that's what it's going to do.
I received an email this afternoon from Tom Myers, the owner of the Olean McDonald's. He says they are ardent supporters of police and fire departments along with other first responders. He wouldn't go into detail about why Heather was fired, but he says her allegations are absolutely not true. He says they would never penalize an employee for showing gratitude to firefighters.
Yeah, but 8 years at McDonald's and now over something like this, but she's never before, now so I get another job.
You know, this is something that it seems like everyone in Olean is talking about. She says she's already received several job offers, so just for the next couple of weeks, apply for new jobs.
So there's the story. Put your speakers down again because I don't want to break anybody's eardrums, especially you, Mawa, if you have your earbuds in, because if I started speaking at my normal voice, I probably would have busted your eardrums again for like the third time, so I'm sorry about that. Now, look, say what you want about Olean, New York. I don't have a very good taste in my mouth about Olean, New York myself personally, because that's where Joel went, and they're nice people, but the boss was an ass. So it's not on the top of the list for me. But the truth of the matter is that this is just as despicable as anything I've heard in a long time. It really is. And good for her for speaking up, bringing it to the news, and how they can kind of weasel their way out of this. The corporate side, the management side, it just blows my mind. It really does. There's no justification for it. So I do want to say thank you to Billy Scarterfield for giving us this story. I really do appreciate it, and just it's just so disgusting. So I think the consensus here was they made a huge mistake, but good for the girl. She certainly is going to make out better. It's 16 past the hour. Canessa here with you on KC in 60 on this Wednesday evening or Thursday morning, depending on where you are in the country, in the world. And certainly thank you all for logging on and joining us tonight. And I want to tell you guys really briefly, if you wouldn't mind looking at the side of the video player on either side, you'll see these column banner ads for Secure Haze. Now, I got to be honest with you. I used to be a big proponent of Skype. I loved it. I always liked getting to see my mom and my grandmother, aunts and uncles all over the country. When I'm down here in Florida, they're all up in New Jersey, and I swore by it, but I don't use Skype anymore, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because of the advent of this wonderful new app called Secure Haze. I want you to click on that banner at some point if you haven't yet, and go to securehaze.com and download the app for your computer and for your mobile phone. When you do that, you have the opportunity to have the safest video conferencing ever, because it has 2048-bit encryption, which means that even the greatest hackers, if they all got together, every single one of them, they still wouldn't be able to get in. There's this thing called a backdoor on Skype, which leaves open the possibility that the government or the NSA, the TSA, whatever the hell it is, could get in and snoop on your conversations. But with Secure Haze, not going to happen. It's a brilliant new app. I want you to give it a shot. And if you do want to give it a shot, please let me know what your screen name is, because I can send you over some security. It's $9.95 a month to have the security, and I have some samples that I can give out to you. So you let me know if you decide to give it a shot. Just take a look at it, though. Really, it's a fascinating new program, and it works magnificently. SecureHaze.com is the website. The banners are right there on both sides. Give it a click, but don't leave the show, of course. But I do give you permission to click on it now and to explore it while I'm yakking away. So Secure Haze it is. SecureHaze.com. Give it a chance today. It's 18 past the hour. Canessa here with you on KC in 60, and we were talking in the chat room at the beginning, I don't need to give you permission, Mawa, because of course, I know you already have Secure Haze anyway, so I'm actually prohibiting you from going to Secure Haze because you need to stay here and listen. I'm just kidding. In the beginning of the show today, in the chat room, we were talking about that's coming up on Friday. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be a game for the ages again. Timmy Gillette is here, and he knows, too, because 4 years ago, it was for the gold medal in Olympic hockey, the United States and Canada, at noon Eastern Time on Friday. The two teams will play for the right to go to play for the gold medal. And today, the United States played the Czech Republic, and I'm so sorry to my friends here who are from the Czech Republic and have family in the Czech Republic, but it was a very one-sided 5-2 game today, the United States beating them, and I was certainly sad because I didn't like to see my guy Patrick Elias getting knocked out, but that's the luck of the draw. And here, therefore, are some highlights from the USA's 5-2 victory against the Czech Republic that propels them into the semifinals and a date with destiny against Canada. So there it is, a 5-2 victory for the United States against the Czech Republic team. And I got to be honest with you. I still have a very bitter and awful taste in my mouth from 2010. And there was a whole bunch of us who were around that game. And we had a big show about it, actually, on my program. And Bertika was there, JJ and Timmy and a few others at the time. We were, I guess, devastated. We really were devastated because that gold medal game was so amazing because, yeah, I think we did a co-hosting around that, Tim, because we were like so miserable about it. If you recall, the Americans were about to lose in the third period, and then Zach Parisi scores with just a couple of seconds to go to tie the game. And it winds up going into overtime. And we just thought at that point in time, okay, it's in overtime. They're going to win this. They're going to win this. But I got to tell you something, folks. Every prognosticator is going to say that Canada has the advantage here. I understand that. Tom even just said it in the chat room. I have zero faith that they will beat Canada, even though they have played better so far in the tournament. But I got to be honest with you here. There is something special about this team. Not a 1980 Miracle on Ice type of special, but special because they're playing so cohesively well. And there is still so many guys on this team now who played on that 2010 team who want to avenge what happened. And there's just this complete and always automatic belief that Canada is just Canada and they're going to win the gold medal all the time. Well, they don't. And I really and truly believe, and this is one of the few times when it comes to hockey, the other, of course, is with Peter DeBoer, but this is the one time I'm going to disagree with Tom. I really hope that this time Tom is wrong. John Tavares got hurt, right? Okay, there was a couple of other Canadians who were hurt as well, and they're not, I don't think, going to be at 100% come Friday afternoon, our time, 7 p.m., of course, in Russia, but I really don't think that Canada is as good as everybody makes it seem. And I'll tell you one thing. I hate him, but Jonathan Quick has been golden. He's been golden here. They made the right decision to go with him over Ryan Miller. Ryan Miller would have been the sentimental choice because he propelled Team USA to the gold medal game 4 years ago, but the truth of the matter is, playing Jonathan Quick, he's the best American goalie right now. He really is. And I can't stand him for what he did to the Devils back in 2012. I'm going to get over that eventually at some point in my life. I did get over Zach Parise going to Minnesota, and I did get over, I'm going to get over Marty Brodeur being traded because it looks more and more like Marty Brodeur is going to be traded before the end of the season. That's the big rumor here, maybe to Chicago, since Corey Crawford hasn't been playing well. But the bottom line here, Quick was Quick. Quick is good, and I think this is the type of guy who could really carry this team on his back. Now, I don't know what happens in this round. I think overtime is endless in the semifinals. I don't think there are shootouts in the semifinals. No, Timmy says no. Okay, so all right, that's good to know because this is where a guy like Quick is going to just come in and he's going to take over. And I truly believe that when all is said and done, the Americans are going to beat Canada on Friday. Listen, I might be. Oh, it's 10-minute overtime and a shootout after. Okay, now is that the case in the gold medal game? The gold medal game is. Oh, there is a shootout in the gold medal game. Wow. Okay. I thought. See, I that's true. That what the Sidney Crosby goal in 2010 was scored in the first overtime, so we never really would have seen it. I didn't realize that. Okay. JJ, Coolest Caster says, in my opinion, there are 4 hockey teams: U.S., Canada, Russia, and the Czechs. Only 2 left. And what about these other 2 teams in the semis? Yeah, it's remarkable that Russia is out. I just can't believe that Russia is out. It's mind-boggling. JJ, I don't know how much hockey you followed, when you were growing up north of the border, but it really is remarkable. It really is remarkable. Yeah, I did that. I said I always say about on purpose, Kieran, occasionally, and occasionally I just cut into my British accent, which Matty says is god awful, and he says it has no rhyme or reason to it. And I've been doing a British accent for 25 years, so when I heard Matty say that, it devastated me. It really did. He told me that I sounded like a mixture of like a New Zealander, an Australian, a British person, somebody from Ireland, and Scotland, all combined in one. And it was probably one of the most devastating things that ever happened. It really is. It really is. Yeah, exactly. It's quite longer than you're doing your own, so... it is what it is. See, what I do is I think I combine a few different dialects, different accents together, and so what you get is a little Cockney, and you get a little bit of London, you get some Manchester, I don't know. The bottom line here is I think it sounds wonderful, and Marwa could, of course... she could call in also and you could hear her accent. And, of course, Batika has an accent as well, even though it's barely noticeable anymore, although the other day I did hear her speaking, and it was very forced, but it was something different. So we'll get off that, and I'll get back to speaking like I'm from New Jersey. It really is. I'm all over the place today, so I apologize. 28 past the hour. Ganessa here with you on KC and 60. I've decided I might just do the rest of the show pretending that I'm from some part of the United Kingdom. Of course, have you ever seen a British news report? I love British news reports when they take the most mundane story and they make it so dramatic that it's like the end of the world. So let's say the McDonald's story with the girl from Olean. If somebody from the BBC or ITN or something were covering it, it would sound sort of like, she bought a meal for the people who fight fires in the fire brigade. And all of a sudden, she's without a job. She tried so hard to do the right thing, and the bastards just fired her. Reporting live from the Red Zone, I'm Nigel Robinson, BBC News, Baghdad. You know, like they just take it and they make it so dramatic. I love it. And I love doing it. So, DARPA TV has returned to the airwaves. The people of America and the United Kingdom have rejoiced. Chop Shop TV has made its return, as well as KC and 60, and the Astro family has gotten it back and up and running again. Now, the only question is, will the people return? Will they come and will they watch the show? I'm Bill Smith, reporting live, BBC News, Sunderland. Just very, very dramatic, so I'm going to stop now. I'm going to take a quick break, too, because if I don't, I'm really going to be all over the place. You're watching KC and 60. Don't go away. We will be back in just a couple of minutes. Right back. It is 32 minutes past the hour. Knessa back here on KC and 60. Remember, I used to call into Brendan Baker's show as Hank Jones. I used to love doing the southern accent. I have no idea what part of the South it is, but Hank Jones was wonderful. He was just, he was a favorite of mine, absolutely. Timmy says nowhere. What am I, what am I missing, Timmy? Negative KC nowhere. I don't know. At any rate, it's 33 past the hour now, and I want to move on to something else. I'm not a big fan of Ted Nugent, as most of you know, and I voted for Barack Obama, or Barack Obama, as they say in the UK, and I have certainly not been pleased with his second term by any means. I am very irritated by the fact that the affordable health care is not affordable. I'm very irritated by the fact that 4 times now I have tried to apply for Obamacare, and 4 times when I get to the final screen, it deletes all of my information that takes 45 minutes to get through. But that said, if I had to do it all over again and vote for Barack or vote for Mitt Romney, I'd still vote for Barack Obama. And I'm still going to vote for whoever the Democratic candidate is in 2016. I don't care who it is. I'm still voting for it. I'm still voting for that candidate, whether it's Joe Biden or whether it's Hillary Clinton. I don't care. You know, that's who I'm going to vote for. But I still can't believe that in this day and age, there are people out there who think it's okay and who think it is acceptable to use names that are derogatory. Okay, now, one reference to the President of the United States, that is. Now, I don't think it takes a genius to know that the former president, the one who was just in office before Barack Obama took office from 2001 until 2009, was probably the dumbest president in modern times, maybe of all time. It may just be that, you know, he may just been one of the dumbest people to ever run the earth, too, in addition to that. But there's no way that out of respect for the office and out of respect for his family, because you can say what you want about the Bush family, they have done some good things for this country. that people would acceptably or should acceptably say things about a person's ethnicity, about a person's birth certificate. Like, just get over it, for crying out loud. And Ted Nugent made a comment about something that would have been said to Jewish people in World War II by the Nazis. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are. This is towing the line, and it's crossing it. Take a listen to what Ted Nugent had to say, and then I'm going to talk about it on the other side, because this to me is just, it's too much. It really is. And it's why this nonsense is never going to end in this country, and why no matter who is in the presidency or who is in charge of Congress, nothing's ever going to get done. Nothing is going to get done. So listen to this. Nugent is a country music star, and unfortunately he's given a platform entirely too much. Take a look at this. Oh, I can't believe I did this. It's the wrong video. Hold on a second. I think I might still have it, though. Yes, I do. Here it is. Now, let me ask this question. And I'm serious. I'm really serious here. Mawa, I want you to help me here. Why do you hate, or why do Republicans hate the fact that they think that Barack Obama abuses his power, when a guy like his predecessor abused power more than any of the other presidents in our history combined? I'm curious. I'm really curious why Republicans are so upset when they think that he abused power, when Bush went to war with fabricated intelligence, where he pushed through the Patriot Act, which basically violates any type of human rights, and basically did whatever the hell he wanted. Okay, all right, now that's fair. Okay, that's fair. But what I don't remember was back in the years of 2001 to early 2009, Republicans complaining about abuse of power. I don't. It just never happened. See, this is that double standard that continues to happen, okay? And I'll take the blame. I'll take partial blame here, because there's no question in my mind that I was disgusted by Bush abusing power. I didn't like the Patriot Act, even though in some regards it was successful. I won't deny that back in 2003, I got motivated by the speeches that I was hearing, and especially after 9/11, thinking that, well, okay, if there really is some kind of weapon of mass destruction somewhere in Iraq, we got to do this. We got to take this son of a gun out. We really do. But now, knowing that there was no intelligence that was legitimate, and that there were no weapons of mass destruction, I think to myself, that was a complete abuse of power. He probably knew. The chances are he very much knew. But the same people who justify the thousands and thousands and thousands of American and Allied forces members who have died don't question an abuse of power back then, but are very, very quick to point the finger at President Obama to say that he abuses his power. And often when you ask them what exactly or how exactly does he abuse his power, they can't come up with an answer. Okay? If pushing through recess appointments is an abuse of power, you don't know the Constitution. You don't know that this is something that happens all the time. Presidents have done it enormously for hundreds of years. I mean, it's the beginning of the country. These recess appointments have been the status quo, and I just don't get it. How is that an abuse of power? I have to take a look at the chat room, because I haven't for the past couple of minutes. I didn't want to get distracted. Timmy Gillette says the double standard goes both ways. That's very, very true. Kieran, tell me why Brits admire Obama. We have David Cameron, and he's dull. Then we look across to America, and you guys have Obama, who is like the coolest politician ever. And now, you see, now this is funny, Kieran. You may laugh at this, but I I love David Cameron, even though he's conservative. He wouldn't be conservative in the United States, though. He'd be pretty much considered pretty moderate here in the country. And I also love Boris Johnson, who happens to be an American by birth. So it is kind of weird how we look at each other's countries. And even though most Americans don't know who David Cameron is and they don't know who Boris Johnson is, my viewers know who Boris is because I always talk about him and bring up and show video clips of him. But the truth of the matter is, hey, there's always been that mutual admiration for each other's politicians and sort of a disdain in our own countries for our guys. I know David Cameron is very not liked right now. And I would love to see Boris run for president of the United States. He could. Most people forget that Boris Johnson, born in New York, lived in the United States until he was 5, could, if he wished to, run for the presidency of the United States by constitutional right. It's never going to happen, but I wish he would run for prime minister in the United Kingdom. I think it would make for some really comical prime minister's questions. Imagine Boris taking questions from wacky Labour Party or Lib Dems. I mean, it would just be nuts. So it really is interesting. Timmy says, Bill Clinton was the coolest politician ever, smoking weed, getting laid. I love Bill Clinton now. Didn't particularly care for him much when he was president, but I'd give anything to have him back, which is why I want his wife to be the next president. Obama seems to worry a lot about his basketball game and in March Madness brackets. Nah, I don't know about that. Yes, he likes basketball, but politicians like sports. George W. Bush loved baseball. He used to own a baseball team. Just because you're the president of the United States doesn't mean you can't participate in things that average Americans do. And I think that's another myth, okay? This guy likes to go to basketball games. Okay, fine. Bush liked to go to his ranch and milk cows. That's just the difference. Mawa says Barry, because she can't say his name, Barack. He has middle name's Hussein, get over it. Is the most arrogant, narcissistic person in presidential seat. How? Give examples. It's fine to make the statements, but back it up. Back it up. That's what I want to see. How is he narcissistic and how is he arrogant? I want to see. I'm curious. All he has to do is open his mouth. Again, no specifics. This is what always happens. You know, say he's just an awful president. Well, give me 3 reasons why he is. You know, the same thing here. If you're going to call him arrogant, give me 3 specifics. Give me 3 specifics. Oh, we're going to go to Benghazi again. We're going to hit Benghazi where 4 people lost their lives. We're going to go there. Well, I've never brought up the Benghazi situation on this program, but I'm glad Billy brought it up because, with all due respect to the 4 people who lost their lives in Benghazi, I wish the outrage from the right would be as strong and as vociferous as it was for the thousands and thousands of men and women who were killed in Iraq, as it was for these 4 people who lost their lives in Libya. It really is remarkable. It is unbelievable that these Republicans who think that the Benghazi situation was the worst thing to happen, almost worse than 9/11, never, ever, ever said anything or bitched and complained about the thousands of young men and women who lost their lives on a fraudulent war. I want you to think about that for a second, folks. I want you to think about that. And please tell me that John Boehner yelled and screamed about these young guys and these young gals who were in Iraq and lost their lives, and yelled and screamed every time another body came home. It just doesn't happen. And this whole Benghazi this Benghazi thing is the most ridiculous, politicized incident in the history of this country as far as I'm concerned. It blows my mind. It was flat out ignored. Oh, really? It was? It's so funny. It really is. Where do you guys get your information from? Benghazi was not ignored. Now, again, Bertika, I don't sit here and say Obama's been great, because he hasn't. He really hasn't. I'm going to take a step back and say that I find him to be one of the most disappointing presidents in history because he had so much potential. He had so much energy. He had so much vim and vigor in the 2008 campaign, and the accomplishments are very, very minimal. There are a few that I like that he did. The Lilly Ledbetter Act, which he signed, which called for equal pay for men and women, I think was great. I'm certainly glad that he ended Don't Ask, Don't Tell in the military, but really hasn't accomplished all that much. They keep saying that the insurance is supposed to be affordable, but like I said, I think my rate was going to be $365 a month. Folks, that's not affordable, okay? That's not affordable for me. And for the average American, it really isn't. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think he's accomplished all that much. And he really could have. He really could have. He had the opportunity. He had a Democratic-controlled Congress, and it didn't happen. But the bottom line is, the alternative, I still believe, would have been 1,000 times worse. If Mitt Romney were president of the United States right now, I couldn't even imagine. If John McCain had been president of the United States, just think if Sarah Palin had been the vice president of the United States. You can yell and scream about Joe Biden as much as you want, but if you think Joe Biden is bad, could you just begin to imagine what life would have been like if Sarah Palin were the vice president of the United States? Kieran says, let's bring his race into it. If Obama was white, so many people would be griefing him. I think not. Bush was an effing moron, but Obama gets more flack. I couldn't agree with you more, Kieran. But again, I don't want to make this is many, many years later. And I used to bring up the Bush thing back in '09, and people were saying, "Get over Bush." I mean, now it's 5 years that he's out, but we're still feeling the effects of his presidency. We really are. And again, I want to say it one last time. Is that I am not here to be an Obama apologist. But I still get a kick out of people who supported George W. Bush thinking that Barack Obama is an ass because you missed those 8 years. If you really think that Obama is worse than what we had when we had a president who couldn't speak a sentence without stuttering on his own words, as I stutter on my own words. A few more things in the chat room. Could you imagine Kerry as president? No, I could not, even though I voted for him. I don't think that would have been a good thing for the country, but I think there were many other qualified candidates out there who would have been a better candidate than John Kerry. And I certainly believe that there were many, many more candidates who were more qualified out there than George W. Bush was. Let's see, what else do we have in the chat room going on? The ultimate corruption by a president becomes known after the president leaves office. That's when all favors done during their term are cashed in big time. Absolutely. It's an excellent point from Coolest Caster. Mawa says, we still feeling the education dumbing down, global warming, and the Clinton administration. No, and no, but that's okay. I respect your opinion. Mawa says you need to understand that Obamacare is not completely his brainchild. Hillary started this in Clinton's time. It came ripe during Barry's reign. That is an excellent point. If you recall, back in 1993, Hillary Clinton was a special envoy or ambassador or something. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but her task was to get universal health care. Unfortunately, what we have now is not universal health care, even though they want to call it that. And unfortunately, it's way, way overpriced. If Hillary had gotten what she wanted and Bill Clinton got what he wanted, no, we wouldn't be paying anything for our health care like they do in the rest of the civilized world, and successfully. What I would like to do is have Kieran or Maddie or somebody from Canada on to talk about the true universal health care system, one show too. I'm curious to know whether it really works or whether these stories of having to wait months to see a specialist are true. But I know for sure that Maddie has told me a few times when he had to go see his GP that he's had no problem getting appointments. So, I don't know. But we'll talk about that. We'll bring that up in in another show, and I'll certainly plan it a little bit better than this. But boy, I have been all over the place today, and I apologize for that, but this has certainly been an interesting discussion all over, as it has been. But the chat room has been on fire today, and there's been some great discussions going on in between everybody inside the chat room. Kieran says he's never had problems either. I go in before 10:45, guaranteed to be seated by 12, no appointment needed. There you go. Chat room definitely on fire. Maddie asked if I talked about Jimmy Fallon. I'm thinking you mean Jimmy Fallon, maybe? I saw his opening monologue, and Jesus, was he nervous. Woof! He was nervous as hell in his first show, and the reviews were not good. But I think he was just, hey, listen, you got to be excited. You know you're in front of 16 million people for your first Tonight Show in 40-something years in New York. You got to be a little jittery. If you're not a little nervous, then something is wrong. But he'll be fine. He'll calm down. He'll calm down, and he's going to be fine. And I saw somebody Matt Morello said that Seth Meyers was great, and he's going to actually be he's going to have a regular role in the show, right? I mean, is that the case? I don't know. At any rate, it's 53 past the hour, and if I were to start on a new topic right now, I wouldn't be able to finish it, unfortunately. So I'm gonna shut things down for the night now. Don't forget, coming up in just a couple of minutes, Chop Shop TV is on the air, and I want you to watch it. Okay, that's an order. As your de facto president, I'm ordering it, and as the president of the United States, or the president of the Republic of DARPA, what I get, I ask for, I get. So that's the bottom line. You got to watch it. And I also want you to click on the Secure Haze banner and get an account. In fact, here's the thing. There's a good number of people in the chat room today. I know who you are. I am going to ask the people at DARPA TV how many new registrations there were between 8 and 10 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, which means that I expect you guys to get there and sign up for a damn account. And if you don't, I'm going to find you. I don't care if I have to get on a British Airways plane. I'm going to kick your asses. That's just what I'm going to do. Yes, KC is the dictator, indeed. No, you're not registered. If you have to go to securehaze.com and register and download it. Just get over there and do it. Click on the links, the banners right next to me. You see? Click them. Get an account. Whew. Wow. This will go down as a memorable show, to say the least. Certainly not one I would ever use if I decided I wanted to maybe put a reel together and send to a radio station or anything of that nature. But it was fun nonetheless. That is going to do it for tonight's edition of KC in 60. Certainly want to thank each and every one of you for spending a part of your Wednesday evening or Thursday morning with me here on the program. Thanks to each and every one of you for being here every day. You guys are the best. You truly are. Chop Shop TV is up in a few minutes, and I will be back here, same time, same place, tomorrow, as we wrap up the week on KC in 60 already. So from Port St. Lucie, Florida, Canessa signing off for now. We will see you back tomorrow night, and I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday evening and Thursday morning.